Excellent. So one of my first questions I wanted to ask was, how did you end up getting into VR chat?
You may want to mute yourself too.
That's probably just so I got into VRChat like in January-ish of 2018, and that
Mm-hmm.
was like when all those very funny YouTube videos came out. So I think it was probably like watching those videos like from Pokelawls and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I got in at least initially. Yeah.
Awesome.
Also, my brother also played, so he also made me
Thanks,
play for a
darling,
bit
for
too.
using your
But
Twitch
actually,
sub on
originally I
little
wasn't even
me.
that interested in it, but I did
Mm-hmm.
get into it like a month later. So like, yeah.
That's awesome. So one thing that I think is very clear is that obviously you make avatars and worlds, and you've make sort of abstract avatars. Why is that? Because obviously, typically people who make avatars usually go to more like humanoid, male or female or
Yeah,
robots and
that's the
stuff.
standard way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the standard way. Because most people's idea of an avatar is like humanoid, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
me, it has hands and legs and all that. But my first idea for avatar was a spinning ball with like weird rings around it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like something simple because I originally I wanted to get into like avatar making and stuff. So I wanted something simple to start learning Blender and stuff on. So I ended up deciding on making this weird ball that has all these spinning rings around it. Um, and then I just really liked the reactions I got from people from being that thing. It's very unique, very non-humanoid,
Mm-hmm.
abstract. And ever since then, I've been making various other abstract things that animate and stuff and improve my skills along the way until I reached into this form. And also, that was also when I was like desktop. So I was desktop for 2 years. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't do much as a desktop player. So I mostly relied on animations to express my uniqueness and creativity. That's the
Okay.
model I got VR.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. Like you said, like it's not like your typical, what most people probably even in the audience have. It's very different, very abstract. So, do you
Yeah.
have any like formal training with like going to school for animation or
No,
anything like that? You just learned all by.
not at all. I started learning like 3 years ago when I started Blender. So that was probably in like March of 2018. I remember my very first avatar taking me it took me like a whole month to learn how to make. It was just a ball and like 3 rings
Mhm.
and it'll spin and that's it. And nowadays I can make that stuff in like 2 hours. So practice makes perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to one of your worlds, where one of your avatar worlds that you have, and I saw that you have like various avatars. Like they seem to be like completely like random from each other. Like some of them are sort of like
Yeah,
little like
very
fur
random.
balls to like a floating ball. One of them was like a campfire. They could just be things like that. Like, how do you get ideas for your avatars? Is it just random, or do you just feel like, oh, this is cool?
Yeah, sort of random, sort of like this is cool as well. So what I try to do is try and make a avatar like every week. So I try to come up with like a new concept or something of that sort, and then try and build around it, and then make some sort of weird spinning thing or something from that. And that's been pretty fun, and also really good for playing prop hunt live without a lot of people knowing. Because when I'm in like those avatars, people tend to think that I'm part of the world, and I was like, oh, this is a cool thing. Let me try to click this. Is it me or button? Nope, that's me.
No, it's fun because I remember before prop hunt and those type of game modes really existed in VRChat, we would just make our own fun and make our own like hide and seek. And I remember often people would just like use like a chair avatar and just sit in the world, and you wouldn't, they'll just be positioned in the world, and you couldn't even tell the difference. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So do you since it's the Christmas, it's almost Christmas. It's the 13th today, technically speaking for me. So it's 12 days until Christmas. So do you have any plans like for Christmas avatar or worlds or anything like that?
I actually do have my Christmas avatar, which is it's a recolor of this.
Oh, there you go. Very festive.
Yeah.
Very nice. You got like the bulbs.
Also
You got like
two canes.
oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
And you got like there's like a tree here and whatnot, like some like lightings and stuff. Yeah,
Nice.
So I'm already ready for the Christmas season.
I'm totally ready. I have a scarf, so obviously I'm pretty ready.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, getting the spirit already. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Rebel.
So, So how did it feel to get into VR for the first time? Like you said that you were desktop for 2 years, so to finally be able to
Yeah.
like put on the headset, move your arms and fingers and all that stuff. How did that feel? Like, were you blown away? We're like, oh my god, this is completely different.
Yeah, very much, very, very blown away. Especially since as the stuff you've been playing this for 2 years, I sort of know what to expect, but actually getting into it myself, it's a completely different experience. I also got the index right off the bat, so it's like the highest quality it can be. So yeah, it was a very, very good experience getting into VR for the first time and actually being able to see my creations from like a 3D perspective, like they're actually in the world. I can interact with that sort. So that was very, very nice.
Absolutely. So so you also helped develop the VRCon world itself. Could you talk about that as well?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So I'm like the lead modeler for VRCon, and most of the world that you see out there, that was all modeled by me. And even like the domes here, I made that. The panel, most of the stuff inside the domes were made by other people, but I did help a hand in some of it and helping to optimize it or whatnot. But yeah, so I've touched a lot of things in this world.
Yeah. So so like have you helped with like specifically just like the hexagon, like just like the domes, or did you help with like the inside of here?
Specifically this for this one actually, just specifically the dome itself. This world was made by Gurth Naka actually, and he did a really good job. I think he did this in like a week or something. He got like this exploded
That's
like
impressive.
crystal thing, all these stage things, yeah. And yeah, it's really good. We had some very talented people on our team.
How's your VRCon been so far? You know, we're on the I believe the last day, right? So, you know, how like
Yeah, today's the last day.
yeah. So how's your
It's
experience been?
incredibly successful. For us, it's been great fun. We've been able to see so much people trying to get in on that. There might have been some technical difficulties, but overall, everyone seems to enjoy it. They really enjoy it, and it's really good to just go around the public worlds and see all the people just running around from here to there and seeing all the different things that we have. Yeah, because it's like world builders. We have like one like main objective, right? To make sure that people enjoy our world, and we definitely are seeing that people are greatly enjoying our world. So that's really good for us.
I can actually understand that because I used to build worlds myself a long time ago. I made Presentation Room Plus. I think that was my greatest accomplishment, and then everything else sort of fell apart.
Yeah, that was great.
But yeah, it's because I didn't like how small Presentation Room was. I liked it's just like too small for me. So I was just like, what if I just made it larger? So I did. And then I decided to make like a mural for all my friends and stuff like that. I haven't updated that world in 2 years. I've sort of stopped world creation because I'm just too busy doing interviews and doing my own thing. But I basically was self-taught. Like I just like would learn things or ask friends about how to do certain things and stuff like that. Like even some of the people from the Prefabs Discord helped me out run my first version of my talk show. I know Cyan Laser and all them. And Jet Dog, I was the one to ask him about like the camera prefab. So yeah, so I have appreciation. I do understand that like having people actually go to your world, like something that you've worked hard on, and then be like, this is a cool world, or I enjoyed my experience. It means a lot, especially for me, because when I made Presentation Room Plus, a lot of people are like, dude, that's cool. I love that you made that world. It's like an improved version of Presentation Room. So I get those feelings.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
How often have you met somebody that has used your avatars? Like, have you been in a public where like, oh, that's my avatar from my world?
Not too often, but I hear from my friends all the time that they see my fluff balls running around.
What was the inspiration for that?
Used to be the case.
The fluff balls.
For my fluff balls, I think that was like when I was like very new to modeling, so I didn't know too much, and I wanted to make some sort of animal, like a fox or something, but then I ended up like not entirely sure how to make like the legs and stuff, so I just made it like a ball, and you give like a big tail, and then I found like a fur shader somewhere and slapped it on it, and that actually turned out pretty good. So then I ended up making like 48 versions of those, like different hats and things, on like one day, and then I got burned out and stopped making them.
I gotcha. It was a trend for a while because in VR chat there are trends where like people have like a base model and then they add like their own little touches to it. Like for
Yeah.
example, nachis or what else? Oh god, Hoppos. Like there's like people take it and then they'll add like their character to it. I know people do like the baby avatar where it's like a baby and then they put like their version of like their OC on top of it. So I can understand why making so many gets tiresome after a while.
Oh yeah.
Another question I have is, do you have any goals for the future, like in terms of world building or avatars? Anything you're planning on for 2021 in the coming year?
Not anything, not anything concrete. But I'll
Okay.
be keeping on doing what I do because I really enjoy just making like weird spinning stuff or weird things that look interesting and unique. And I'll probably be working on some projects as well with other world builders. Definitely on Vrcon for next year.
Absolutely. I think VRCon is very successful this year, and I think it's gonna be bigger and larger for next year. So you never know. Maybe this world, because like there's definitely more space, more areas that can have more domes and things like that. So I think that maybe we can have like a battle dome or something. What do you guys think? Battle dome? Like
Maybe.
beer pong competition or something like that. I don't know. Dodgeball or something. You never know.
Hey, those are some good ideas.
Yeah.
You should get on
I'm
the
full
game.
of ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next question I have is, which avatar are you most proud of?
Let's see. Well, probably this one. This is my first VR avatar. And when I made this base model, at least, basically it's been packing up like my 2 years experience making avatars into this one model. So yeah, this one's pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. And since I don't have full body, I don't need legs. It's just a floating crystal thing.
Do you plan on getting full body?
Originally, yeah, but it's like, I kind of like this right now. Eventually I will. I keep telling myself that, and I can get it like whenever, but yeah, eventually.
Okay. Do you take commissions for avatars?
No, I don't take commissions. I just make stuff for fun, really.
Okay.
It's more of a hobby for me. I feel like if I tie like a price to it, then it won't be as fun anymore. Because I'll be doing that on top of my real job. So I'll be like,
Okay.
it's like my hobby to relieve stress. Yeah.
Do you have any fond memories, funny moments, embarrassing moments from your time in VRChat? Any like in your grand, experience of this game? Any times that like stuck out to you? Maybe something happened, 6 months ago, 2 years ago.
Nothing that comes to the top of my head, but there have been plenty of times that I've been, as I mentioned before, I like being like the weird prop in the world that people mistake as like a button or part of the world. So, and there have been so many people that have mistaken me for a part of the world that I'm quite proud of.
Absolutely.
So I'm proud that I'm able to deceive them and have fun like that. So that experience is definitely very fun.
I gotcha. So you made the Blue Isle, and then you have your Avatar world. You had the high-rise pool and abstract playground. So can you go for each one? Like, what was your thought process of each of your worlds? Obviously, you have the Avatar world. That one makes sense. But like the high-rise and like the abstract playground, like how did you come up with those ideas?
So the Blue Isle is my first ever world that I made for VRChat, and this was like 2-3 years ago in 2018. And that was like my first time making worlds. So I think I spent like 3 months straight. It was like just like came to me as like a dream of like I want an island with like a lake and like a small trees and stuff, and that turned out pretty well. People enjoyed that for a while. And then the high-rise pool is my world for 2019, I believe it was. And I just wanted to make my own club and make it all fancy and stuff. And that also took about like 3-4 months, I think. And the design was just trying to just make some cool rooms and stuff. So in that world, there's like a bunch of rooms. There's like a fireplace room. There's a downstairs bathtub. There's a upstairs high-rise. Well, actually, the name itself is the inspiration for that world. Because I wanted to make a world where it looks like you're on like like a very tall building, and there's just a very giant, like a large infinity pool. Because those
Yeah,
are
yeah.
really cool to see. And that, yeah, so that's what that is. And in the abstract playground is I wanted to make a world that had more abstract stuff to play with. A world where you could kind of build like your own, mix and match like your own abstract animated thing. So what that world does is it lets you spawn various different objects. And they're like weird objects like squares and cubes and stuff. And they all have like different animations and stuff. And so you'll be able to like put them around, make them play and get them different sizes and mix and match them and put them around the world as you want it to be. That was my intention for it. And of course, there's my avatar world, which is just a place to show off my avatars.
Absolutely. I think it's incredible, to see someone who also not only builds worlds but also avatars as well. I mean, you're doing both. Most people that I know in VRChat usually stick to just one or the other. So, what got you interested in doing both? Was it just something you wanted to learn, or?
Yeah, it was something I want to learn. I also just want to like dip my hands in both. Though right now I definitely prefer doing avatars more because they're faster and easier for me to make. I don't work on worlds as much now, unless I mean not kind of like this stuff. I'd still like help people with various worlds that they're building. So it's not like more my world, just more like group collaborative projects. But yeah, originally just want to just dip my hands in and see what I can do for both.
Absolutely. I just think it's cool because like your avatar right now, it has like a lot of moving parts, and you don't really see that in a lot of
Yeah.
avatars. Sometimes people will have like a mission or something like that, but to actually have like animations like move up and down and stuff like that, like I think that's incredible. It takes a lot of time. How long does it take do you think to do like a simple animation, like just like, or just let's just say describe your avatar. How long did it take to do this one specifically of all the moving parts?
So this one specifically took it took 2 weeks for the overall idea because for like 2 years I haven't really been doing anything humanoid. So this was kind of like I was like, what kind of shape do I want for this? But the animations themselves are all using like bones and just animating those. And they're very simple animation, just like spinning and rotating, and that's all it does. And I think overall the animation itself took me like probably like less than a day, something like that. Because I also got like that 2 years worth of experience. Most of my avatars I can make it animated and spin like 2 to 4 hours, or effects, I guess. So I'm doing those now instead.
Have you ever thought about doing? Because years ago, I remember there was people that would do like a lot of memes and stuff like that. So what I mean by that is like huge animation. So have you ever thought about having like a huge animation on your avatar where like you put down like, I don't know, some sort of like crazy huge effect or something like that? Ever thought about doing that?
Yeah, I've thought of it a couple of times, but it's not really my thing because I usually find those kind of annoying. Though I mean, it's very cool when they're very well executed. They just take a long time, and usually they're like using particles and stuff, which I'm not really proficient in. But I definitely do want to like do something like that someday. It's just that I like making like animated loops better, so it's easier for me to make smaller things that can loop or more easily loopable.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like I think what you're doing is a lot more optimized. Would you say a lot of your avatars are optimized?
Yeah, most of them are green or better.
Oh, nice. Don't look at my stats. Anyway, I think that's good because I think a lot of people who build avatars and stuff like that for VRChat, they don't really, care too much about optimization. Like it's just sort of like, whatever, 50 materials, 2,000 collisions, whatever.
Yeah.
But to see someone that actually wants to make an effort to make avatars more optimized and more, welcoming, because it's like, we can have 50 versions of your avatar running around the world. And I'm not going to lose frames, but sometimes, when it only takes one person to have a poor avatar or very poor, and it just messes up the whole flow of everything.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, also with that, because optimization usually comes when you get more experience. When you're like starting off, you don't know what anything is, you don't know how to optimize anything. So that's also the case for why there's so much of that, because people just don't have that knowledge yet. But it's actually good it to get into optimization. Yeah, you can actually pull off a lot of stuff, even when you're optimized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what shaders do you use? Like, do you use like a specific one, or you know what I mean?
It is just standard. The only other one I use mostly is the crystal shader on this, which is, I'm not entirely sure. I think it was like from Vrcon, but that's usually what I do. Most of my avatars, I just use a standard shader, and that's been
Really?
working pretty well.
Why
'Cause that's
why do
medium
you
shiny and stuff? Yeah.
why do you use the standard over like Poyumi or any of the other ones?
Cause I like how it looks, and like all my all my coloring is just very simple. It's just so the way I have it colors from my avatar is just a texture, and there's like 4 boxes on it. One box is blue, one box is dark blue, one box is light blue, one box is black, and it has UV map all my parts into like those different spots. So it's very very small, very simple, and they work for what they are. Yeah.
So, as someone who's been a part of this community for a while, is there anything that you would like to see in the future be in VR chat at some point? Maybe for worlds, or for maybe you as an avatar creator. Anything that you're like, oh man, I really wish this was in VR chat. I really wish it had these tools, or anything that you have like a wish list.
Well, probably number 1 is the avatar search function. That'll be nice because I have like over like 200 avatars. It's nice to be able to find your avatar that way. Other than that, I guess most people default to like something like better security or something like that. But I know how hard that is for like game development stuff, so that's not really reasonable to ask for. But yeah, like a cleaner UI. Though I guess that's in the works with the new UI menu coming out eventually.
Currently.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. I think we'll start taking questions from the audience. If Don and Andy, I believe, want to start setting that up.
Yeah, sure. If anyone wants to ask a question, you can just stand right here between these 2 poles
right here.
so Rebel can actually and Kizu can actually see
I
you.
might have to.
So if
leave
you
early
guys want
because
to
of my
start a
travel.
line here and then go back,
Yeah,
that
stand
works.
where I'm at. So if anyone wanted to ask a question, stand on here.
Yeah, I might have to leave early because of my laptop is being.
I'll
So,
just.
I mean, the event officially ends in about 25 minutes. So I mean, it can go for however long Rebel would want.
Yeah. I can go
There
for.
will be other events going on after this, but not in this specific instance. So it can go on for however long, everyone wants it to. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I just need
Yeah,
to
well,
like charge my laptop.
I'll let
so
you
it
decide,
doesn't
Rebel.
crash on me.
Sure.
This game, so I can go to the next event.
Alright, not a problem. You take care. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for joining your car.
See you in the improv.
Yeah, and remember, like Rebel said, Kizu made a lot of this world. I mean, his hands in pretty much everything in this world. So, if it weren't for him, we may very well
Feel free to
have had a
ask.
significant
feel free to
challenge
ask
making a
questions.
VRCon a
I
reality.
enjoy your work.
Yeah, feel free to come up.
Well, thanks for enjoying it. I hope you have great fun with it.
Stand right on that rock and ask.
Alright, so then I guess we will go ahead and have the first question. So, Pokey.
Okay. My question is, well, I have two. The first one is, seeing that you have made this new Christmas theme avatar, what's like? Do you have any idea what's going to be like your next avatar?
For my next avatar, so that's probably gonna be like a New Year's avatar. But usually I call like my ideas for avatars in like half an hour before I actually make them. So I'll just see what comes to my mind next, because sometimes it's kind of random. But I think the next avatar I'll try to do is like some sort of New Year's avatar. That should be fun.
Would you be up for showing your Halloween avatar? I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, you want me to show my Halloween avatar?
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see what you got for Halloween.
That was a good, that's a good one. I like
I
that
could do
one.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Here you
Is there any
go.
difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's orange, and also it's like a crystal zombie kind of thing. So there's like different parts missing and whatnot.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
a chunk out of my head. various parts missing from my body, from my main, my standard avatar. And also a friend of mine, Antimabafunde, I think that's how you pronounce it, made a sword for me, which is pretty nice.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Really nice.
works pretty well.
The second question is more like a joke question. Is can I add you as a friend?
Sure, go for it.
Thanks. Give me a second. Let me do it manually.
Any more questions?
Isn't this a row for questions?
It is.
It's
You just
next
next
person.
next person.
Just line up here.
Yeah.
So next person up. So you're up.
Any future plans? Any future ideas you might want to share with us, maybe?
I mean, as I said before, I usually make my ideas like half an hour before I actually make them. But maybe I'll be updating my food cart avatar. I think most people like that one.
Oh yeah.
Is
that's a
this
good
one loaded?
Yeah, it's loaded.
You're loaded.
Yeah. So some
Oh,
people might know me
snap.
as a guy who has a food cart.
Dude, give me some ice cream. Whoa, this is
Oh, sure
this is
thing, Rebel.
crazy. Look
What
at this.
flavor you want? You want chocolate?
Yeah, of
You want
course.
purple swirly? What inkling?
Oh my
Plasma?
god, dude. What the?
Stardust?
Bro. This is cool. Oh my god.
Yeah. So there's like 80 objects here, all different items. I can all grab them and move them elsewhere in the world space.
I should have flexed this before.
I think this is
So
your
yeah,
only
maybe I'll be
yellow
updating this one for a different event.
Oh, nice.
That is
I think
actually
this is your
really
only yellow.
You should have like a balloon one, you know?
Yeah, there's all my few yellow ones. Oh, like selling balloons. Oh, that's
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
idea.
yeah, yeah.
That should
They
probably
have
be
like little
the-
people's faces on them, like VRCon staff faces on them or something.
Ah, that's an idea. Hey,
Put some emotes on there. I don't know.
VRCon balloons coming to you soon. TM.
Absolutely.
nice.
Next person.
Yeah.
Yes, more of a curious question. What was your best VR chat friendship or relationship like?
My best one. Well, I'm in part of prefabs. So it's a group of very, very talented world creators and avatar creators, and I guess I'm I'm very good friends with most of them. So those would be my best friends, I think. And we hang out like every weekend, and we go look at new worlds or check out worlds in development and stuff. I mean, we're all just very supportive of each other, helping each other make new things and spreading ideas around. I guess that'll be how my best relationship would be. Just a bunch of really, really talented creators.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get in contact with them? Just curious.
Actually, I think originally I got invited by someone in the server, and I initially didn't really know what or who they were. But then I started joining the community meetup events every Sunday, where people show off the worlds they're developing and stuff. And a large part of prefabs is in there usually, and they're showing off like different worlds that they're building that week or different projects they're working on. So I just got more and more. I just kept on attending that event and got to see more and more things and got to meet more and more people, and that's how I got in.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
Next
Thank you.
person up.
This is a question for both of you actually.
Mhm.
In your time in VRChat, did you have any kind of like life-changing moments, like for positive aspect or negative? Like, or did you have any big moments that kind of like changed your life in a way?
You can answer that first.
Yeah,
maybe.
absolutely. For me, my most like I guess like a positive life changing moment was when I started doing interviews and people would come to me personally and like thank me and be like, "Hey, that was a cool interview. I enjoyed your interview with this person, that person," and that was a positive moment because it made me reinforced to where I am today. If people didn't come to me and say you were doing a good job, then I probably would have thought that I was doing horrible and I was being a bad person or not good enough or whatever. But when people constantly came to me and came to my show or came to my stream constantly, or they would basically encourage me to keep going, and that's where I am today. So that was a huge big moment for me, and I got to where I am today, and I'm happy for it. So yeah.
Well, as for me, it was when I made this avatar. So this is my first ever avatar I made. The one I was talking about.
Wow.
This is a ball with spinning rings and stuff. And so after this, making this, I got really interested into creating various things for VR chat, as well as I met most of my friends afterwards, after making all my cool things, because that's something cool to show. But basically, before I started making this, I was just playing games every day and whatnot. But nowadays, I spend 2 to 4 hours like modeling something every day, all related to VR chat. So that's probably pretty life-changing for me.
Right, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a question for both of you as well. What was your influence? What made you come up with the name you use now for your VR chat account?
Oh, that's a good question.
For my VR, yeah, sure. You say like you mean like my VR chat name, like that one Rebel? Is that what you're saying? Like where I came up with it?
Yes.
So
I like to ask people with unique names why did you choose that name? What made you pick that?
for mine,
Since it's very interesting.
starts a long time ago, like 8-10 years ago when I was on Xbox and I had an Xbox gamer tag, and it was called It's Rebellion because I wanted to be cool and I wanted to be a rebel. But then over time, when I started playing VR chat, I changed it to that one rebel. And the reason why was because I wanted to be the way I wanted to conduct myself, at least with interactions with people or just content. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be a rebel. I wanted to do something different than everybody else. And that still translates to today because I run a talk show. I do something completely different than everybody else. So I'm always trying to go off the beaten path and try to do something that is different, is challenging, and doing an interview talk show is that.
Nice, Rebel. Mine's not as cool as that. So basically, this I started using name tag like when I was like 10 years old or something. After playing like Armor Core, I think one of the companies they can buy your parts from was called like Kizuragi or something. So I was like, I like that name. I'm gonna take it and make it Kizuragi, and that's been the way it has been for like the past 10 or so years or however long it has been.
Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Thank you.
Hello there. So, actually,
Hello.
one of my questions for Rebel is, why did you start streaming in the first place? What was the base origin of that started off your streaming career? Where did it all begin?
So, for me, how I got into streaming, I actually started streaming back in like 2012, 2013, but this is way before VR chat was even a concept. It was because I was a YouTuber, but I didn't really stream too often. I'll tell you more about the VR chat, like why I started streaming VR chat, because that's only 3 years ago, and why I still stream every single day. So originally, I said just prior, I was a YouTuber, and I was making content every so often, but it wasn't really like popular or anything like that. And at the time, when I started playing VR chat back in literally 3 years ago, December 10th, 2017, that's literally just past 3 years ago now, I would record everything I did, like literally 8 hours of footage, and I was in college, still am. I was just too busy, and at the time, I was a part of Team 5, with Whoops and Poke and all them, a bunch of streamers, and I said to them, like, I'm a YouTuber, I'm going to record everything we do for videos, and they were like, dude, why are you doing that? Like, that's so much work. You just stream, you just start, like, go to OBS and click start streaming. It's a lot easier, man. So it was my friends that convinced me to start streaming. They said like, dude, you can interact, you can do a little more things. Like it's just easier to stream. So it was my friends 3 years ago that got me into streaming, and here I am almost streaming every single day for the past 3 years. So that's how I got into streaming. My friends.
Okay, and one other question for the legend who, from what I heard, if I heard correctly, had designed the VRChatCon worlds. Number one,
correction. I didn't design this place.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, is that avatar the inspiration for the water sphere at the bottom of the the helicopter area, like the main area?
Ah, that thing. Actually, no. That was made by someone else, actually. So that was someone else's design. But the designs for this world were all made by the team leaders of Vrcon, especially Explosions. Explosions was the main. This was her main idea. How she wanted it to look. I merely took that idea, implemented it, and built it. But yeah, no. The water sphere is made by Hemo and Hextrix, I believe, which is a really cool idea.
And one other question is, what were some struggles as a World and Avatar creator that you had come across during the development of this event?
That's a pretty good one. Well, first it was, I guess, one of the struggles just coming out of that idea of what we wanted to do. Like, we want to make sure that we weren't doing like our idea wasn't so complicated that we couldn't do it, but we wanted to make it a good enough idea that we can do it and execute it beautifully. So that'll be one of the reasons for that. One of the things that we encountered. Other than that, there was also like Udon as well. There was a time when we weren't sure if we could make this a quest or not. We eventually decided to make it not quest compatible due to what we want to achieve with it. And there's also some stuff with Udon where we weren't exactly sure if we could get like say, the voice overrides in the stage world where you can hear people from far away in Udon. Originally that place was going to be SDK2, but that's all changed in like the last 2 months or so. Yeah, so that's kind of rocky based on the VRChat updates and things. So those would probably be the main challenges there.
Ultimately, it came down to how much time we had left.
Yeah, what Don said.
And final question. If you could do something different next year, or even this year, what would it have been and why?
For VRCon?
Yes.
I guess something different will probably be, we could probably have a whole lot more rooms in the main area than just the 4 domes. We could have a whole bunch more like game rooms and stuff for like hidden things, and also Easter eggs. That's probably a thing that we wanted to do, but yeah, I think eventually we'll put in like Easter eggs. That'll probably be a good idea.
Okay,
That's probably all I can think about at the moment.
The questions?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Velocity.
So this is a question for both of you, but like, when you started like your streaming career, or like you making your avatars, when you started that, what was your vision for the future at that point in time, and how has it actually gone out? Like, has it changed? Is it stayed the same, or like has those things that you've planned actually come true?
Do you want to take that first? Or?
Sure. So when I first started streaming 3 years ago, I've definitely changed my end goals, or what do you want to call them, achievements over time. When I first started playing, I played as a dude, and I was just like putting on a fake accent and just being weird, and just I didn't even have VR at the time. I was just being a joke character. And then over time, I decided to change it up, rebrand my whole channel, and then I started to do I tried to do like a talent show at one point. I was trying to run a club at one point. I don't know, you name it, I probably tried it at some point. And then eventually I landed on trying a talk show world, or doing interviews and stuff like that. and that's what stuck for me, and that's what worked for me. So basically, the moral of the lesson is that keep trying and try different ideas, and eventually one of them will stick. For me, doing interviews is what I enjoy and still enjoy. But definitely 3 years ago, or even 2 years ago, or even a year and a half ago, my objectives or my goals were completely different. I was all over the place. Every couple of months I had something different. But for next year, I just want to go bigger and brighter, and I'm planning on expanding outside of VRChat to start actually interviewing VTubers and stuff like that, like 2D and 3D, taking my show not just in VRChat, but also be able to interview people via Discord and stuff. So that's my goals and stuff for the new year.
Yeah, so when I started making avatars, all I could think of when I first made this one was I just want to be a ball and have fun being a ball. And in the first couple of months I was making stuff, I was kind of make like stuff like left and right, and I was still trying to explore like what my art style was, and that didn't like consolidate. But now I definitely have a very different outlook on that, because now I want to make abstract animated stuff or avatars. And even work on some worlds as well, because I have a skill to back it up. I can make a bunch of different things a lot easier, a lot better now. So that's definitely been a very interesting, I guess, like a growth, I guess. Yeah, so that'll be my answer, I think. Hopefully that answers it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Next.
Hey. This can be for both of you. And interpret this how you
Don,
like.
are you asking a question?
Yeah, I got one. After him.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned from doing what you do?
The biggest lesson I've learned?
Ooh, biggest lesson.
You want to go first, or should I?
You can go first.
The biggest lesson I've learned from doing what I do, interviews and streaming, is never give up. There's many times where I wanted to give up and just quit and just get a normal job, working 9 to 5 or whatever. But I was down in the dirt. I didn't know what I was doing for like the first 2 years of streaming. But what kept me going was my friends, my family, and believing in me and just doing what I love. Like, at the end of the day, whatever you do, if you're a content creator, if you're just someone who just makes avatars or worlds or just streams to your friends, or you're playing COD, or I don't know, whatever you're doing, as long as it's something you enjoy and that you love, then that will keep you going. Honestly, that's my best advice. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with what Rebel said. Make sure you love what you're trying to do. Don't force yourself to try to do it, especially if you're trying to learn something complicated as well. Like for modeling, the modeling learning curve and for avatar creation stuff is very steep. And if you don't have a good idea that you want to put all your passion into, it's not gonna work out very well. And yeah, so it's best to have some sort of idea they want to work on that you find really cool, and not just do it just to learn it or just to do it for the sake of it. Make sure they actually have some passion for it. I think that's probably that's what I've learned the best from that.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Casey, do you still have the model of the Vrcon headset with the floating prism around it?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, if you could show that off,
Let me
that'd be
go
great.
find it. Oh yeah. Let me just find it in my long list of avatars here. One of these is it?
Yeah, I remember you showed it off at one of the staff meetings a long time ago.
So this one, if you guys able to see it well enough. So this is so this is the original idea we had for the cubes in the center, and it's been refined a bit, but still generally the same idea. And I think the initial concept behind it was we wanted to have something just right there, large and big, so you look at it and see, wow, this is VR. This is VRCon. I think that was the intention behind it, right, Don?
Yeah, so during the early days of the world, this was the first design that was put up there, and Kizu was the one who put that together. So imagine the one that huge one over the waterfall. That was the first version of it before it was updated a bit more since then.
Mm.
But yeah, so he worked
Yeah.
on that too. So I just wanted to demonstrate that to everyone as well. Thanks, Kizu.
Yeah, sure thing. Anyone
Anyone
else?
good? Is that all the questions?
I think we might be good.
I think we might be good. We're 3 minutes till 8
Um,
o'clock, so hey, I'm on time.
Yeah, right on time.
Actually,
Very
I have
nice.
one last question.
Oh, one
yeah,
more
for
question.
sure.
I just
Yeah, go
thought
ahead.
of one.
Okay.
Alright, go up.
Whoops.
Hi. This is for Rebel mostly. Do you have any advice for somebody who's starting off as a new streamer, like such as myself, somebody who's small, only having like 100? What could I do to improve, or possibly keep the motivation to continue streaming?
I think when you start as a streamer, or you're struggling and you're trying to think of ways, I think the best thing you can do is try to extend your outreach. So what I mean by that is, if you don't have already, like, you should have a Twitter, you should have probably an Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, all these different streaming platforms or other avenues. Like, for example, I think Twitter is like a must-have, or even using like a Facebook page and things like that. Having outreach. If you're struggling to get like your first initial viewers, try to like buddy up with your friends. Maybe some of your friends, that you want to hang out with, maybe just have fun. Like, initially, you want people to click your stream and make sure that you're having fun. If you're constantly just like complaining about, oh, I only have 3 viewers, oh, I only have 1 follower today, or anything like that, you always want to think positively, or at least have a lot of fun with what you're doing. So, and take at your own pace. You can't expect that. You can't be like, if I don't get 100 followers by the end of this month, then I'm a nobody, right? You don't want to set unrealistic goals. Just have fun with it at the end of the day, whatever you're doing, whatever you're passionate about. And, if something doesn't work out, then you can always try something else. Maybe try one thing for a month. If it doesn't work out, maybe try a different thing. Maybe you want to do, there's so many different things you can do. I don't know particularly what your content is. If it's like just VR chat, if you want to play other games, if you're a VTuber using Suva or a VC face or anything like that, but there's so many different things that you can try and do. You can also use like tags and stuff like that. You can like use like the VR chat tag. You can go to the VR chat Discord and like join other communities and things like that. There's just so many lots of possibilities. I think also networking is a huge thing to do as well. Try to collaborate with other streamers or other content creators and just have fun in general. Just make sure that's like the most important thing, because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, your viewers are going to see that very quickly. And a lot of people don't want to see someone just constantly having a bad time or complaining and stuff like that. So make sure whatever you do is for fun. And it took me 3 years to get to where I am today. Arguably, you can say it took me 8 years. Since I started making content on YouTube 8 years ago, and I was like 17 years old. So it takes a lot of time. You do at your own pace. Don't compare yourself to other people. I think that's like the worst that you can do, right? You probably look at other streamers and be like, why does this person have 20 viewers? Why does this person have 100? And what's going on? That's like one of the most toxic things you can do, is always compare yourself to other people. So just make sure that you're having fun doing what you're doing. And eventually you'll get there, right? It might take months. It may take years. I'm not sure. But as long as you're working towards it, you're being consistent, have a schedule, whether you stream every day or every other day or at a certain time. There's so many things I could tell you. I could probably talk about for like 5 hours, but anyway, I think hopefully what I just said helped you out.
What you said was definitely helpful, and also on the topic of the content, I try to be open to people who are part of the LGBT, who have trouble expressing themselves, basically, who basically are not comfortable in their own skin. I try to make my content like a safe home for like everybody, rather than just having it targeted to one person. I try to help, I try to be happy, and that's the goal that I have, at least, to just have fun and try to cheer others up. At the end of the day, I usually don't think about my followers, but when I do sometimes set a goal, I never really strive to think, hey, maybe I should promote more, maybe I should reach out. And what you just said definitely did make me start thinking maybe I should start doing more of that. Maybe it would help.
Yeah, you should always ask for help. Don't think that you can do everything by yourself. maybe like you said, you're part of the LGBT community, so maybe you should reach out to those individuals, other streamers, other people part of that community in VRChat, and maybe talk to them and be like, hey, let's do some sort of event, let's do a hangout or something like that. Let's do something together, because then that way you have other people all working towards a common goal, right? So then you have more eyes on you and more potential there.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Good now?
So with that concludes the official show with Rebel. If anyone would like to remain here, or Rebel, if you would like to sit here and continue streaming and build questions and such, you can.
However you want to go about
The
things.
next event is.
Oh, there's a question in the
next
Twitch
event- the
chat.
next question's-
I'll take
Yeah,
this one question.
Okay.
Question from Retco112. How was he driven to VRChat 3D creation? And for you, Rebel, why did you decide to do interviews and TED Talks in VRChat? So I'll answer my part first, and then you'll answer the first part.
yeah.
So why did you decide to do interviews and TED Talks? Well, I don't really consider them TED Talks, but interviews. So why did I decide to do interviews? Long story short, back in early 2019, I met a person by the name of Waifu Delivery Service. That's her Twitch name, but her official name in VRChat is Ladle with the little accent on the E. Her and I, we met at Neko Nights, and basically it was all off stream. We were just talking back and forth, and I brought up the idea. We mutually agreed that we wanted to do some sort of like open discussion talk show type thing. And shortly after that, we started to do this talk show in my world, Presentation Room Plus. And then we took it to, she had a world made by a good friend of mine named Shizui. She did a really wonderful job. And then from there, we did it for a couple weeks, and it was like a huge success, because having like an organized like talk show in VRChat was like kind of unheard of at the time. So it was really successful, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. It slowed down. It got canceled basically. It stopped being a thing anymore. But I still believed in wanting to continue that. So in about August/September of 2019, so a little while, just over a year ago, I decided to take upon myself to then make my own world. So I took like 2 or 3 days of like my basic world creation knowledge, and then I designed my own first talk show world, and then I started just interviewing my friends, because I know a lot of people in VRChat. I'm very social, so I know a lot of streamers, a lot of people. So I started bringing them on, and within like a couple months, it was just a huge blown up success for me, because everybody's like, dude, Rebel, you're interviewing people. That's so cool. That's like really awesome. Get to know people, because I'm very inclusive. I interview even mutes, like I think everybody has a voice. Everybody has a story to tell and experience. So that's what worked out for me, and I continue to do what I do, and I love what I do. So that's how I got into interviews. Anyway, to answer the first part of the question, to reiterate, for you is how was he driven to VRChat and 3D creation?
So I think that ties to what a lot of people want to do, right? Instead of using public models, you want to use a model that you have your own. It's your own. You own it. You made it. It's mine. That's basically what drove me to make my own stuff. And I really enjoyed that. Having something of my own thing that I made that I can show other people. I think that's also important. That something you made, you can show other people, and you can have fun with it. Yeah, so that'll be it.
Awesome. I think that concludes all the questions and stuff like that. I'll still be streaming. I'm wondering, is there official like VRCon where I can just join and then just like, if I wanted to meet people, like a meet and greet type thing? Or is there an event going on right now?
I think there's only public ones.
Oh, only public ones?
Yeah, you always just jump at the public one.
They're pretty. The public ones are solid. I mean, a lot of our friends were hanging out in those worlds, and we were meeting all
Yeah,
sorts
they
of
haven't been
people,
too
so
bad.
It was good. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and if you want to talk too, I can try. I can talk to you about being talk about the leadership aspect of VRCon, some of the behind the scenes stuff.
Sure.
As
If
much
you
as I
wanna,
can
if
say.
you wanna come up here
Yeah,
and
I could
talk for a bit.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to talk about that kind of stuff.
Tag me out, Don.
Yeah, I'll tag
I
you
wouldn't
out.
mind
Kizu.
doing an interview as well.
Yeah.
Tag. All right, let me get up here.
Multiple interviews.
All right.
Multiple interviews.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Actually, yeah. All right, I'm here proper. Cool. All right.
All right, so Don, tell me what's it like being the Don Italiano of VRChat?
It's been quite interesting. For those who don't know, there was actually another player on VR Chat, and I met him about 2 years ago. But he's the Don. He's a mutual friend of ours.
Oh
But I
yes.
don't really see him so often anymore. So the Don and I, we used to joke around a lot because he too was also Italian, like myself, and so we came to like a quote unquote agreement. And again, this is all a bit of a running gag between the two of us. So because he's the Don. He's the Don of all VR chat. But because I'm Don Italiano, I'm the Don of all the Italians, and he's Italian. So we're kind of like, we're on equal footing in a sense. So that's why. This name, I had about 5 months to plan it out before I could actually get into VR chat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
that's a whole story I can go into.
So let's talk about VRCon. Like you said, the leadership of VRCon. Tell me about it.
So we've really been working on this convention since mid-March, so it's been 9 months now. And the idea for the con really came from Fizzy, or people also know him as Furtrap. So Fizzy is the founder of VRCon because he came up with the idea. But there were a couple other people who want to do this for a long time. Obviously Fizzy wanted to do this. Lil Bagel, who's the director of VRCon, he was brought into this by Fizzy, and myself, the three of us along with others wanted to do an event that really brought the community together for years now. I, like Rebel, the Rebel has been involved with the community a bit longer than I've been. I found out about VR chat through YouTube in January 2018, so it was right around the time of Knuckles, December 2017 and all that. But yeah, so that's how that happened. And we had an initial meeting. It was just an interest meeting, so if you show up and you're interested in it, then you could become staff. That was back when we actually needed people. Later on, as we needed more people for the staff, as the project grew and grew more in scope, people had to put in applications. But at first, we just needed people. So if you showed up, you would essentially just be put on staff. And so I showed up there, and it was actually Matty Death. Matty Death was the guy who kind of got me my job. They were talking about all the different teams. There's about 6 different teams for VRCon. We had a marketing team, we had an events team, we had a volunteer team, we had a finance team, we had a art/avatar team, and we had a world team, which of course Kizu was part of the world team, obviously. So those were the 6 teams. So we had 6 team leaders, which I'm one of. I'm the head of finance. Obviously, as you can tell, there's a bit of a story behind that. And then we have 3 directors, now 4, or also known as admins. And those people are Lil Bagel, Fizzy Furtrap, Explosions Forever, and Yas. So it's like a 10-person overall leadership team of VRCon. So there's 10 of us. That's why I got the yellow icon, because I'm one of the team leaders. You'll see other staff, if they have the icons with the pinkish purple one, that means that they're part of the general staff team.
Okay, awesome. All right, I was about to ask that because I was like, what's the difference between like the gold and the gradient?
Yeah, it just so the thing is like if one of the team leaders is in a world, usually obviously since one of the leaders of VRCon, we give some kind of like a distance and direction. Like if anything comes up, then we'll handle it. If a staff member isn't able to, or if they have a question that they're not able to answer, usually the team leaders are better informed, because again, we have that more behind the scenes knowledge than the regular staff members do, just because the leaders talk a lot. We've been talking so much just over the past 3 months alone, and the final home stretch of getting VRCon to debut on time.
Mm-hmm. So VRCon, did it like become a concept because TwitchCon was going to be potentially canceled? Was that a big factor?
So it's yes and no. So I suppose the best way to explain it is, again, like I said, there have been those among the team who've been wanting to do this for years. It just so happened that right when we were starting to plan this in mid-March, that was also the same time period in which a lot of things were closing down, a lot of conventions were being canceled. So it just so happened that because of the pandemic, we were going to do it no matter what happened, because again, back then not too many people knew about it. And
Yes.
so yeah, it just kind of happened. So you could say there was a bit of a silver lining, and the silver lining was, well, if all the other cons are being canceled, at least we have one in VR chat itself. And then there were some other conventions also that happened in VR chat, obviously, like Virality. I think there was the that horror con. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but so there were some other conventions that happened in VR chat as well. Those cons, though, at least to my knowledge, were more because of the pandemic. I think Virality, this was their first year doing it, and they did everything in a shorter amount of time than we did. I think they started around like mid or late 2020.
Yeah.
The horror con, I'm not sure if that was an annual thing, so they just did it regardless of the pandemic. Maybe this was their first year. Again, I can't really comment on too much on that because I don't know much about that specific convention. But yeah, so some happened because of the pandemic, others just continued as is. I mean, we, as part of the VRCon staff, we definitely want this to be an annual event. So whether the pandemic continues or not into next year, we still want to have this convention. It was just quite fortunate that, with that all happening, even with TwitchCon canceled, and I even had plans myself to go to both TwitchCon EU and TwitchCon US, that we could still see everyone that we had been able to see in the past through the medium of VR chat. So it was just, convenient in that aspect.
No, I gotcha. Like, I think this is wonderful. Like, especially because, like, now do you have this built, you can just add upon it. Like, you can just use the same one for the next VRCon. You don't have to, like, unless you want to build everything from scratch again, But I wouldn't do that. I would just build upon it. Build other hexagon pods, or you want to call them. So,
so I'm part of the finance team. I'm not part of the world team, so I can't comment. And not only that, but I really just don't know what the plan is for next year. But I would imagine we have another great example, which is VCAT. And as you know, VCAT has multiple different worlds that they make every year. So it could very well be that for next year for VRCon, we would be starting a new world from scratch, like we did with this one. But as of right now, we haven't, even really spoken much about that yet. But who knows? It could be additions to this world next year, or it could be a whole new thing. I just don't know at this time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's gonna be awesome. Like, you can even have, there's so many ideas you could do with VRCon. You can have like contests related to VRCon or something like that, like some sort of like little mini like avatar contest.
We did have some events earlier. On the first day, we had 2 games on Friday evening U.S. time. So we had the Never Have I Ever game. It wasn't really a competition; it was a game, and we had a couple instances for that. And then we also did a game of Murder with the Murder for the new game by Jar. So we did that. And then yesterday on Saturday, we had the Laser Dome tournament, the laser tag tournament. So we had that. So we have had some competitions. We had a quiz show, but yeah, we would like to expand and do more events for next year. Again, due to the interest of time and making sure that everything debuted. Around 11 to 13 December. You can only have so many events. The staff is small this year. We'd like to expand for next year.
Absolutely.
Because
I think this is awesome because, like, this is. Did you have any like talks with like the VR chat staff themselves? Like, I think you just like you said like maybe Ron's in, but like I think it's just
like Tupper or Ron.
Yeah, because like this whole thing is run by the community itself, and I think that's awesome. Like that you guys have did this all by yourselves, so you didn't have to rely on the devs to be like, oh yeah, can we get this? Can we do this? Like, no, you did all this yourselves. Like I think that's more important than relying on them to do it.
Yeah, so there was talk about that, and what I can say is in terms of the VR chat devs, they like to see how things go first before they really, are more involved, I would say. So we kind of had to show that, yes, as a community, we could do this ourselves. We could have a VR con, and now we want this to be, a big annual thing. And now that that's happened, maybe they'll talk to us, maybe not. Again, that's not really, we'll just see what happens. I really can't say anything more than that.
No, I gotcha. The possibilities are endless. Honestly, I definitely do think that they have some eyes on you. Let's just say that. So.
Well, Ron is actually in our community server. I did notice that he is in our community VRCon server. So, yeah, you're right.
So,
one other thing I'd like to say too is, it would be nice if we could have this world that's kind of like the unofficial VR chat hub. That way, people could just come in here. In like a public world, you can always meet all sorts of new people. You could take a look at the booth, like say.
Yeah.
You're brand new to VR chat and you go, oh, I want to be involved in an RP community. Oh, or I want to be involved in like a world touring community or something like that. You can just go to this world and then go to the community dome, and then you can find those groups and you can find some, potential new best friends in your life.
Yeah, I actually agree.
So this would be great to be the unofficial one.
100%. I truly think that like the community itself should be the one that sort of develops worlds for new players, because right now, like how VR chat is when you boot up the game for the first time, I think there's a tutorial, but it's like private only instance, and then you get booted to a private only world. Like you're sort of just like, what do I do? So I feel like if this was like public, if you were starting in VR chat for the first time and you were booted to like, or you started in like this world and it was a public instance and you could just run around and like, maybe this world will have to be a little edited a little bit to make it a little more like easy to navigate, but like, just like people like go to the panels and be like, what kind of communities, like you said, like you go to the community hexagon circle thing, and then like the booths, the booths, and you'd be like, oh wow, there's this community, there's this community, and then maybe they should have like it has all their information, all their discords, all that stuff. So it definitely, I think something like this should be what the standard of like VR chat should be, because I feel like what the hubs that they make are just kind of like, I don't know. I just think that new player doesn't really use them or really like, I think something like this would be a lot better, personally.
Yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens. I mean, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to discuss, or should we move it on to Andy?
Andy? No, nothing else I could really think of at this time. Were there, did anyone have any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
Vrcon, or do we want to do that?
Sure.
You guys can get in line again if you got any questions. I'll answer them as best I can.
Good year.
No questions?
No questions, I guess. I don't know, man.
That works. I do typically run around public worlds and I talk to people and answer questions, and yeah, I've met all sorts of people.
Do you like spaghetti?
To this event, I love it. Yeah, it's really good.
Like
you gotta
pasta?
be careful though when you're wearing a suit.
Yeah, of course, man.
Of course
you
I
gotta
do.
wear your
'cause, I mean,
napkin,
like-
bro.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sure.
We got a question. So around the
Okay, so I actually do have a question.
Hold on a second. Hey, Pokemon, could you come over to the front, please? So
Yeah,
I
can
so
you
I
can't?
see you?
Yeah, in the middle.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Around the-
Go first.
Around the first stages of the project, how hard was your job?
So for me personally, it was not that difficult at first because I received the funds, the donation that we were going to be using to fund the project, but we didn't use as much of the funds as we anticipated because for my job, I receive funds, and then I send funds to people who need to be reimbursed, for official VRCon. Events that buying like special meshes or textures and things like that, art, so we did, so I did do that. So I was really just the custodians of the funds, and actually we did pretty good. Like I said, we didn't spend too much money, so the money that we have now, we're going to be saving for next year. So next year when we start, we won't start in a budget of $0 like we did this year. We'll actually have some money in the bank that we can start using for this year. It was always understood that pretty much everything you see here was done for free. I mean, it was all volunteered work, like Kizu. He volunteered a lot of his time and effort into this, along with other, the other world builders of that nature. The money would really be used if it was like, like a last minute thing, like, hey, we got like a week before we need this, like we really need to, it just helps speed up, the process. If it was like an emergency. So in terms of my job specifically, it wasn't terribly difficult. And then I try to tie in with the other teams too, just to make sure that I had a basic understanding what everyone was doing. So if anyone asked me questions, the basic questions, I'd be able to answer them outside of finance.
Oh my body's derping out.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Seems
Thank
like
you.
my body's derping out.
My question.
Go ahead.
It happens.
Hello. My question, considering the fact that you're part of the funding team, Don, did you guys at any point consider opening a Patreon for those who wanted to support the con?
We did actually consider that,
Oh,
and
my
so
hand.
we actually looked at
My hand is.
we actually looked at VCAT, and we saw that VCAT raised a certain amount of money, and we thought, well, we're probably not going to need that much because this is the first year we're going to do VRCon. So we just received a single donation, which was a couple $100s, and we just used that to to pay for things that we really needed to use money to reimburse people for. I mean, we only spent about like 55% of everything that was donated, so I still got 45% of the funds to apply for next year.
That is very impressive.
Yeah, it's I figured that it would be like since this is the first year, it'd be more like a shoestring budget, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Real sorry about
The
that.
best things come from the smallest budgets.
Well, that's because people were working really hard, though. It would be nice if in the future, as we're able to get more sponsors and more people invested in VRCon, we can we'll have the funds available to actually start paying people for this work. Because what would be really cool is if people could actually work in VR chat and then actually get paid to make worlds or paid to get models, and then that way you can everyone can actually use these funds to sustain themselves. So you don't really need to get a job IRL per se. You could just continue doing your work in VR chat and make a living, kind of like what Rebel and other streamers do. They make a living through streaming, so kind of similar to that.
And one other question. I myself, being part of the BBYO, have had to help with planning of their convention, which usually happens once in the spring and once in winter. And my question for you is, as a former convention planner, how much time and effort have you guys put in? Because I know it can be stressful and it can be a lot, but once you've gotten your work down, it's easy to get done within less than a year and then possibly increase to much more as the year continues. So,
right. So I mean,
how much did you guys put into this that made it what it is today? This beautiful event.
I mean, in terms of all the staff and everyone individually, and then you add it all together. I mean, thousands of hours among everyone combined, all 6 different teams. So what we typically did was we wanted to. As I said earlier, we started in mid-March, and now it's December, so that was 9 months. We wanted to start early. Really early, you could say, to make sure that we had enough time so that this could all happen. So that's why we started so early. In terms of our meetings, we would do 2 meetings a week. We would have the leader meeting on Sunday, and that would typically go for about an hour. So that would be me and then the other 19 leaders. Well, back then when we first started, we had about 5 team leaders, and then it doubled over the course of time as more people came onto the staff. So we would have the leader meeting for about an hour, and then after that, for another hour, we would have the staff meeting. So we would just invite the other VRCon staff into the non-leadership teams into the meetings, and then we would discuss with them some of the things that we talked about in the leader meeting. We would demo the current world, the current version at the time. We would brainstorm, hash out ideas of what we want to do, and things of that nature. And we met pretty much every Sunday for 9 months, with the exception, I would say Thanksgiving, which was last month, which was very hard because that was only a couple weeks. That was only about 3 weeks out from the con, but since most people on VR chat are from the U.S. and so are the majority of the staff, as you can imagine, a lot of people were just unavailable because they were spending time with family or traveling or things of that nature. But we pretty much met every Sunday except maybe a couple holidays in which people just weren't available. So that's a lot of meetings. That's a couple dozen meetings.
Yeah, that does seem like a lot of meetings.
And yes,
thank
well,
you.
we want to make sure that it was done right. And the problem is that if you have too many meetings, then it just drives people crazy because people really value their time. But if you don't have enough meetings, then everyone kind of just falls apart and does their own thing. So it was important that we had a meeting every Sunday at the same time. No matter what, don't change the time, because once you have meetings and you start changing the times or the days, people just get really confused. And so if you got one specific day, and one meeting time, then people are going to be there, and then we can just hash things out and work them out from there.
And one other question that I actually just thought of, because I'm thinking a virtual enterprise course, what type of virtualized enterprise tactics did you use to get this con up and running? Like, what enterprise tactics were you able to employ to get this to be possible?
Well, first of all, since so many of us are gamers, because we're all here, we started out with Discord, and we've been using the Discord continually ever since March. So we started out there. We made a Trello page, so we used a Trello page to also organize, and they had like note boards and pens and things like that, so that was easy to use. And then we also, and then the marketing team also created, a YouTube channel, a Twitter page, I believe an Instagram as well. So I mean, we just use most of the same tools that most people are familiar with. Most people in the VR chat community. Now that may change next year. We may want to be more structured next year. So some things may change. What those programs could be, I really don't know at this time personally.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Yep, of course. All right, Midnight.
Just out of curiosity, is there anybody that was specifically assigned the sound design? Because whenever I go to other worlds, I immediately turn down the world volume or turn it off. Here, I just turn it up because it's just so calming, and it's like I just really like it.
Yes, I don't remember their name offhand, but in terms of like the person who actually made the music for this world. What was that?
Wobbly's the one that made it. Yeah.
Wobbly, that's right, Wobbly. I was gonna say if you go out there and you look at the events, the credits around the waterfall, I could point out their name, but yes, it's Wobbly. So Wobbly was the one. This is their own music that they created, and then they put it into the world. So they were the ones who did that. And if you want to know, how to spell their name, it's outside on the credits wall.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Do we have any other questions?
I think that's everything.
I got one.
Yeah, what's up, that guy?
Oh, okay.
I guess going through all this, and you said you guys have been working on this for like the past, was it back in March? Did you guys have
9
any
months.
Major Oh, okay. Have you guys had like any major hiccups? Like any major problems that delayed, getting some worlds together, or maybe some communication issues?
Oh yeah, I mean that's just how it is for all these projects. I mean, and I think the biggest example of that is none of us, when becoming part of the staff, really no one had any experience doing anything like this before. Like we haven't had anyone previously who was part of being like staff of an actual IRL convention. So we all came in here pretty fresh. So as you can imagine, it's hey, I want to be part of the team, and then I want to do this, but what happens is that sometimes you don't realize the scope, like how big things can be. And so, people want to do, they want to be on one team, but maybe their skills just aren't the right match. Other people become a part of the team and they go, wow, this is a lot bigger than I thought. I have real life responsibilities and roles and duties I need to do. I'm not able to do, be part of VRCon staff and bounce at the same time. So, it's hard with people because, because the community, what is the community? The community is all about people. So I'd say that, it's hard in terms of that aspect because, you got to just find the right people, the right mixture, the right chemistry, because if you don't have that, then you could have people just, fighting each other internally on the team. And, we didn't really have that so much. So we had a really great team and we had really great people. That's really all I could think off the top of my head. But as you can see, everything turned out well. So I think another challenge too. Now I think about it, I think another challenge too was originally. I know you guys think that a lot of you probably think this world's pretty big, but the plan was to actually make this a much larger world and a much greater scope, and we really had to, after we realized just how much work this was going to be and how involved it was going to be, all the time, effort, sweat, and tears, and all that, we really had to, down scope it. We had to reduce its size of what we were planning, the vision of this, and so we reduced it to what you see here. I think we bit off a bit more than we could chew at first.
Yeah, it was really big when I saw it.
Yeah, it was pretty big. Yeah. So I think finding finding the right people for the right job at the right time, and then also being realistic without being realistic and without being like too much of an optimist, I would say, like just a realistic optimist, those were two things that we kind of had to do better, which, we dealt with that the first couple months. And then by I'd say about June, we were good to go. And then we had, 6 months to continue from there. We actually brought Bagel in. Well, Fizzy brought in Bagel. Fizzy asked Bagel to join the team because we were a little bit directionless at first because, again, we had never done this. And because Bagel was part of the VCAT staff, which, we all know that VCAT's a thing. In fact, they're going to be doing VCAT 5 next week. Lil Bagel was able to take his experience there and apply it to VRCon, and then that's what really got the ball rolling.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Don. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. It's my pleasure. Yeah, I always like seeing you. It's always
Hell
good
yeah.
seeing you.
I think that's about it. I think what I'm gonna do is probably make my own like Friends Plus, and then I'll just have people meet and greet at VRCon.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I think you should try public. You might be.
Okay, I'll try a public or two. If something happens, I'll be like, all right, Don.
Let me tell you something. I've been in a lot of publics over the past 3 days now. This con, and it's not like your regular public like Great Pug or anything like that. Like it's pretty good people.
All right.
Around just in publics.
All
right. And if there is a problem, you can always pull the ejection switch. Sure.
I can vouch for what Don is saying. Throughout all the public world, I've met so many new people who are so nice, and I think that this con has actually brought the brighter side of VR chat together, which is a great thing.
Yeah, same here.
That was the whole point of this convention. We
All
wanted
right.
to bring everyone together.
All right, I'll believe it.
Yep.
All right, I'll go to the Publix. I'll take the plunge.
I'll go with you.
All right, let's go. Let's go. I'll be like, listen, if you're messing with me, you messed with the Dawn. That's what I'll say. I'm like, I'm staff here, dude.
We'll go to a world that's almost full. I know Sachi was around earlier. He was talking about Purple Lotus, and if you go to the more fuller world, you actually see some of the communities that have their booth there, and some of them will actually be in front of their booth talking about the communities and stuff. So you can actually talk to them about that. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
I don't have a booth, so I'm just gonna be like, yo, I do this thing. Anyway, you want to drop a portal? Well, I'll jump in. Let's go. Let's do it.
Quick question.
Yeah,
for
sure.
next year, what would it take to get a booth, design it with a team? Like, just curious. Like, what would it take to apply for a booth?
So there's a booth submission form which was put out in the public VRCon community server. So if you join that server and you just look around, I can't remember the exact channel, but you will be able to find a channel that has, it has a bunch of submission forms. It has submission forms for booths, submission forms for panels, submission forms for if you're a streamer and you like to stream VRCon officially, and things of that nature. But there's a whole channel for that.
Okay, thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah, if you go to the Twitch, if you go to the VRCon live Twitch page, it probably has a Discord link there, and then you can just join it from there.
I can invite you.
Yeah, or
Pretty sure you invited
Midnight
me
will
to
take
the
care of you.
VRCon. I'm pretty sure you already invited me to the VRCon Discord. I just had no idea those were there.
Yeah,
The
just
submission form is in the announcement channel on the VRCon. You don't gotta scroll up. Just go up to
There you
symbol
go.
fit, and then you should be.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
yesterday there were a bunch of people. There was Domaniac, and it's me, EO, and Jabba. Like a lot of our friends were
All right,
in a public.
let's
role
do it.
yesterday,
Let's
and
do
we
it.
had no issues.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
do it
Let's do it, man.
All right.
You'll be my. This is just like TwitchCon, dude, or whatever. You'll be my staff guardian, dude. I'll be like, listen, buddy.
Yeah, I'm fine. All right. Let me check the website because I'll
Good
take
interview,
us
by
to
the
a
way,
world in
Rebel.
which you know some people. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Rebel.
Thank you.
Also,
That was
Rep,
a really good interview.
I
wish I
quickly
could
give you a
get
high
it.
five
Oh,
because
of
it's
course.
awesome to actually be on VR chat in the same world as you, dude.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Well,
All right, let's do it.
I would love to do an interview, but I